It's Sunday, which means that I am wearing my favorite Slayer shirt ever. Got it the second time I saw them live. I've seen them now 3 times. I tend to wear this every Sunday because of actually the topic of this video. Why I am an atheist. Let's do this. I grew up in a fairly religious household. You know, stuff like church every Sunday, praying before every meal, church groups, stuff like that. When I was in kindergarten, I actually went to a private school. It was a Christian school in my hometown. As I got older, I participated in youth groups, church groups, stuff like that, because they always had something to do with skateboarding. About the time I was 10 or 11, I started skateboarding, and when we go to these church groups, there would be skateboarding stuff, especially from junior high on, and I loved that. So originally, it's like, well, we got these skate ramps, we got these rails, these boxes, etc. You can skate them, and we just got to come inside and do some sort of, Bible study or something. And I liked it. I didn't care. It was like I was still fairly religious back then. As I got older, I started to really dislike religion. I started to really, actually, pretty much rebel against it. Part of it was teenage rebellion, that whole, fuck you, mom and dad. That wasn't the entirety of it, but I really did start to dislike religion in general. One of the problems we had was that, while I did like going for the skateboarding and the youth group and stuff like that, we kept changing churches. It was pretty much once a year. And so when I'd start to really like one, we'd change. And I just kept getting into worse and worse and worse places. I went from a small church where there was a lot of skateboarders, and the high schoolers did it, the junior highers did it, everybody did it. So it was really cool with it. And so if you brought your skateboard along, you could skateboard, and I liked that a lot. And I went to a real big church where you couldn't even bring your skateboard on the property. Immediately disliked that. One of the things that really got to me was the fact that I would have to wake up on one of my days off, because I was in school, obviously junior high and high school, where I was going Monday through Friday. I would have to wake up that day off to go do something I didn't like. It was one of the very few days I could sleep in. But no, you gotta wake up, you gotta go to church and act like you care. You gotta get dressed up and play their little games. Just really didn't like that. One of the things I really hated about that whole waking up thing was to go somewhere and get told I'm going to hell for liking heavy metal. It's like, fuck you, why am I here? Eventually, I just kind of gave in. I started taking my Discman to church with me. So, for 2 weeks straight, I brought it with me. The first week I listened to Slayer. The second week I listened to Mudvayne LD50 because I really, really enjoyed that album. In fact, every now and then I listen to it and I'm still amazed by it. Off topic though. By the third week, I don't know what happened. I guess I just didn't wake up or something. And I ended up not going to church that day. My dad was mad at me, all this sort of stuff. I stopped going after that. My parents let me stop going. I had to go one last time for Easter. Suck it up and go. Whatever. But I haven't been back since. Towards the end of high school, and actually after high school, I got really, really interested in politics. And one of the things, this was about 2004, so I started seeing the rise of the neocons and the whole religious right under Bush and all that. Started to see how Iraq was actually being touted as a holy war. And I started getting really, really like, this is wrong, this is fucked up, we should not have religion influencing policy. And that's where I really became anti-religious. I still believed in God, but I didn't like religion at all. When I went to boot camp, I didn't really pick up religion, but I was definitely a lot more open to the idea of God. And, boot camp is kind of a intense time in your life. If you've ever been, you know what I mean. It's pretty intense. And so prayer isn't that weird. I only went 3 times to boot camp. The first week we were actually told we had to go. The drill instructors made us. I had no choice, so I had to go. The second week I still thought we had no choice, and I didn't go again until the last week where we got to wear our service bravos because it was in the winter time. So, it's like a source of pride to say you're wearing your bravos or your chucks to church. So that's the only reason why I went. but I really still didn't like religion in general. When I went to Iraq, I was fairly, I prayed a lot, stuff like that. But even then, I was still not into religion. I was still not into the whole idea of organized religion and all other silly shit. I still didn't like it then. Before I went to Afghanistan, some things happened in the Marine Corps that really pissed me off. And some other things were going on. It's hard to explain unless you were there, kind of thing. I really don't know how to convey it, but in the process, I started getting really, really distant with religion, prayer, any of that shit. When I went to Afghanistan, I saw things that, well, the one thing that stood out in my mind above all else was 2 girls fell in the Helmand River. Our corpsmen did everything they could to save them. One girl lived, one girl died. The father gave the past tense version of Inshallah, which just means, it was God's will. The dude just had a daughter die, and he said it's the way God intended it. And I immediately was like, fuck this, I'm done with it. It was like the defining moment of me going completely away from religion. When I got back from Afghanistan, this was in 2010, I saw the rise of the Tea Party. I saw once again the revival of the neocons and their heinous belief system. And once again I got inflamed with the whole, what the fuck is this shit? And I immediately became like, no, this is all fucked up and I don't want to be a part of this. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I was able to actually talk about religious stuff. I was no longer actually affiliated with them. They couldn't say I couldn't talk about it. And I got deep into the anti-religious fervor, the disgustingness behind it all. I got out of the Marine Corps the same week Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. I saw so many just assholes and bigots using religion to condemn people they've never met. And I had a huge, huge problem with it. One of the things I also started doing was watching a lot of YouTube videos on atheism and anti-religious stuff. I don't even know how I came upon them, but it just started to happen. One of them that really stood out to me was Dark Matter 2525 and his cartoons. Now remember, YouTube is also what helped me in my transition, so... And the videos pointed out the absolute, just utter stupidity and absurdity of religion in general. How it's all contradictory, it's easily seen, once taken out of the faith light, you're able to see it for what it truly is. At that point, I was not yet an atheist. I just started becoming more and more not religious and was able to go, this shit is stupid. Why do you believe in this bullshit? When I went back to school, I was originally dropped from all my classes because not all of my VA paperwork was back in. One of the classes I was able to actually get into was a world religions class. Something that blew my mind in there was there's a very hard truth about religion, regardless of which one it is or where you are. Everybody in certain regions have the religion that is their own. And it is the one that's completely correct. Nobody else was correct. Everybody else was wrong. Everybody else is going to hell or whatever. India and the caste system. The Middle East and Islam. West and Christianity. How we start seeing how it was actually used as a power tool to hurt other people. And one day I just kind of had this epiphany. And I realized it's all bullshit. None of it's true. None of it is correct. All of it is a lie. After that, I knew I was an atheist. Nowadays, I am an avowed atheist. I am actually somewhat militant on it. Just the other day, somebody tried to hand me a chick tract, and I told them to get out of here with that shit. I don't want it. I don't need it. It's bullshit. Fuck off. What's really interesting is I've actually been transitioning longer then I've been an atheist since I started HRT. When I first came out to my mom, she asked me if one of the reasons why I was an atheist was because of this. Like, do I hate God because I was not born a woman? And the answer is no. They are two unrelated topics, and the reality is it's much bigger than just my gender issues. I do not believe in God. I do not believe in heaven or hell, angels, demons, God, Satan, Jesus, Yahweh, Buddha, any of that shit. I am an atheist, and I'm proud to be one.